I have one final question for you, which is, do you have any words of wisdom for others who want to make different the current system in some way?
I think one piece of advice is speaking. I think ingraining yourself, or at least speaking the language of the people who might control the current system. So I think that the onus is on us at SASB to make the case that indeed these sustainability issues do drive shareholder value creation and corporate value creation. And the onus is on us to be able to speak and translate that into the language of a CEO and a CFO and a portfolio manager, and not the other way around.
It's kind of like a Aikido approach of joining and then directing.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a board member as well, and I think this was a great piece of advice, who said, you got to take the religion out of this. In the sense, not literally, but the idea that, we're not necessarily advocates. We think that what we're doing ultimately will create positive change, but we're going to do it by working within the system, by speaking their language, by showing the business case for making the change, as opposed to saying, oh, you should just do this because this is good for society or it's good for people, right? Because if you think about people within a system, you've got to speak to all of the individuals' motivations and needs.
Right.
And what's really good for society might not help that person keep their job or drive shareholder value, or so you've got to kind of think about the individuals in the system and not just kind of rail against the system.
Right. It may be that these benefits maybe drive you.
Right.
But what drives you is not necessarily what will drive your audience.
Absolutely.
And what drives your audience is their need. So to translate what you're doing to what their need is.
Yeah,
that's it.
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes people say, sales, sales can kind of get a bad reputation, or ooh, I don't want to sell. But I think everything is a sale, right? And I watched this amazing TED Talk by Nancy Duarte, and she said, you have to pay attention to presentations, because you could have the best, biggest, most amazing idea in the world, but if you can't present it and communicate it to your audience, then it's going to go nowhere. So I think being able to step into the shoes of your audience is so key, and being able to speak their language and assess their needs in order to persuade them is huge.
Well, that's great advice.
Thanks.
And thank you so much for talking with us today.
Yeah, thanks, Sue. That was great.